Coming up, products from the future, a war memorial for an American king, a teleporting tape measure, bullies who can't pick a side, impromptu outfit changes, and some really problematic hygiene. 2017's It takes us back to the 80s, where Pennywise brings children's worst fears to life and fills its stomach with them. But beneath the scares are no shortage of movie mistakes, and in this video, we're floating all of them to the surface. This breakdown contains spoilers, so proceed with caution. In the opening scene, Georgie draws a smiley face in the condensation on Bill's bedroom window. He turns his whole body to speak to Bill, with just one arm on the window ledge, but in the next wide shot, both arms are up and only his head is turned. Georgie then walks toward Bill, and the smiley face on the window has disappeared. At the end of the scene, however, the camera cuts back to the window, and the face is back again, fading away on the glass. From inside Bill's bedroom, the windows appear to be standard windows set into a flat wall. But when the house is shown from the outside, Bill's bedroom clearly has bay windows that protrude out over the roof of the front porch. From Bill's point of view, just before Georgie puts his boat into the water, we see it flowing to the left down the street. But in the close-up of the boat as it enters the water, the flow has reversed, with the water now moving to the right, the opposite direction from what was shown in the previous shot. Georgie chases after the boat with his walkie-talkie in the right pocket of his raincoat, but after ducking under the first Derry Public Works barricade, the walkie-talkie switches to his left pocket for the remainder of his scenes. The large open storm drain where we first meet Pennywise isn't typical of New England infrastructure. This style of drain is more commonly found in areas prone to flooding, such as parts of the western United States, and in places like Ontario, Canada, where the film was actually shot. When Leroy speaks to Mike at the farm, his hand gestures aren't consistent between shots. Whenever the camera is on Leroy, he gestures with his left hand, but whenever the camera cuts to Mike, Leroy's right hand is gesturing instead. This happens when he points toward the animal pen, and again when he warns Mike about getting a bolt between his eyes.
Until you feel that bolt between your eyes.
In Beverly's first scene, she's shown smoking a cigarette in a bathroom stall as she's confronted by a group of girls. She puts the cigarette out on the stall wall with her right hand, but in the overhead shot that follows, she's suddenly using her left. The writing on the stall walls also changes between these shots. In the same sequence, the pink jacket resting on the window ledge behind the girl's leader changes position before and after the trash is dumped on Beverly, who shields herself with her bag. Shortly after the bathroom scene, Beverly meets and introduces herself to Ben. Throughout the scene, Ben repeatedly drops his diorama, and the broken pieces and the way he's holding it keep changing position between cuts. When Beverly signs his yearbook, she has the pen cap in her mouth. It's gone in the next shot, then reappears there again moments later. And when they part ways, we get a clear view of Beverly's bag, which is now completely clean and dry, despite what just happened to her in the bathroom. When Bill returns from school, he finds his dad in the garage using a wood lathe that's set up the wrong way around. In the very next shots, the lathe is suddenly set up correctly, a change that's clearly the result of the shot being flipped, as the items on the window ledge and the equipment on the walls also switch sides. When Mike hides from Bauer's gang in the alleyway, he takes 2 packages from the basket on his bike and holds them in his left hand. Each time the camera angle changes, the position of the packages shifts slightly, and after the loud bang on the door, he's only holding a single package.
How's it going to look? The rabbi's son can't finish his own Torah reading. Take the book to my office.
Obviously, you're not using it.
Although Stanley's father is being harsh, ridiculing him for struggling with his Torah reading, he isn't actually wrong. The Hebrew book Stanley is holding here is upside down. Hebrew texts are read right to left, with the cover on what English readers would consider the back of the book. As the Losers Club raids his kitchen cupboard, Eddie says,
"Take everything but the delicious deals, guys. My mom loves them."
Delicious Deals is a Mrs. Freshley's brand that wasn't founded until 1994, 5 years after this scene's 1989 setting, and the packaging shown also uses modern designs. While Ben is in the library writing the postcard for Beverly, the librarian is initially standing by the shelving at the back of the room. Ben briefly looks out the window and sees the Losers Club riding past on their bikes.
Found it.
The librarian is suddenly right next to him, throwing the book down on the table with the spine facing him.
I have the book now.
Notice that his hand isn't touching the book in this shot, but when the camera cuts wide, his hand is now resting on it, and the book has rotated, with the spine now facing away from him. It stays in this new position when he slides it toward himself in the over-the-shoulder shot. After reading about the Easter explosion, Ben watches the red balloon float across the library past where the librarian is sitting. He stands up to follow it, and the librarian has inexplicably teleported back to the shelving where she was standing earlier. As Ben follows the trail of Easter eggs and heads down the stairs, the lighting changes between shots, with the direction of the support pillar's shadow flipping completely. As Ben leaves the library, he passes the War Memorial where Bowers is waiting for him. Despite the film being set in Derry, Maine, it bears the phrase, "for king and country," wording associated with Commonwealth countries like Canada, where the film was shot, not the United States. When the Losers Club grab medical supplies for Ben at the pharmacy, none of the items they pick up have visible price labels. There's also a black bubble-style security camera mounted near the prescription counter, a design that didn't become common until the mid-90s. The shelves Beverly browses also lack pricing. When she bumps into the others moments later, the shelving behind them clearly displays price tags. Many of the beauty products shown use modern packaging. In 1989, Olay was still sold as Oil of Olay. Dial and Ivory both used completely different packaging, and Nivea Soft hadn't been introduced at all until the early 90s. After the pharmacy scene, as Beverly walks toward Bill, several modern cars can be seen parked in the background. It's hard to identify their exact models, but their SUV-style proportions and rounded designs are clearly from the 2000s, not vehicles you'd expect to see in a 1989 setting.
We were thinking about going to the quarry tomorrow, if you want to come.
Ben has a noticeable graze on his chin after his run-in with Bowers, but by the next day at the quarry, it's already healed. Later, when the boys are caught staring at Beverly and try to play it off, Richie's legs switch from cross to uncross between shots. After visiting Ben's house, Eddie is next seen walking down Neibolt Street, but he's wearing completely different clothes than he was before. While this could suggest a different day, when we see Beverly afterward, she's still wearing the same outfit she had on in Ben's bedroom, strongly implying these events take place on the same day. Beverly locks the bathroom door and sits in the bathtub to read Ben's postcard, but the writing on it doesn't match what we saw him write in the library earlier. She sets the card down on the edge of the tub with the picture side facing down before investigating the sounds coming from the sink. After retracting the tape measure from the drain, Beverly is grabbed by the hair and drops it into the sink, but its position changes repeatedly throughout the scene. First it's upright by the left tap, then it disappears entirely, then it's lying down by the right tap. In a shot from Beverly's perspective, it's now lying by the left tap before switching back to the right once more. Blood erupts from the drain and we see a close-up of the postcard being soaked, but it's no longer picture side down as Beverly left it, and despite locking the bathroom door at the start of the scene, her father is later able to walk straight in.
What the hell's going on?
They'll float too.
Bill picks up a green Lego turtle in Georgie's room, but green and lime green Lego bricks weren't introduced until 1996 and 2003 respectively. Lego avoided the colour for years to discourage children from building military vehicles like tanks. When Pennywise rises from the water, his eyes are pointing outward and his hair is wet and hanging over his forehead. In the next wide shot, his eyes are facing forward and his hair is suddenly parted and out of his face. As Henry goes to bash Mike's head in with a rock, Mike's hands alternate between being pinned under Henry's knees and pushing him away as the camera cuts between them. Throughout the fight, Belch and Victor also repeatedly switch positions, swapping places on Bowers' left and right. When Ben hits Henry with a large rock, the impact isn't realistic. It visibly bounces off his head with very little reaction. This lack of impact is consistent across most of the rock hits in the scene. Richie is also struck hard enough to knock him down, yet he shows no injury for the rest of the film. The fight is established on the bank of a rocky stream, but in several shots of Belch, the background doesn't match, appearing flat and grassy instead. In one of these shots, Belch is shown uninjured. Then the camera cuts to Beverly throwing a rock, and back to Belch again, where he already has a cut on his face before the rock ever hits him. After Eddie falls through the floor and crashes onto the table, his arm doesn't appear to be broken before he passes out, despite it being very obviously fractured when he regains consciousness. The debris from the shattered table is also arranged completely differently around him now. Then, when Pennywise goes to eat him, its mouth is opened wide before the camera cuts away. When the scene returns, Pennywise's mouth is far less open, even though it's now closer to biting Eddie. As Beverly lies unconscious in Pennywise's lair, 3 distinct drops of blood land on her cheek and neck. When the camera cuts wide in the next shot, those drops have changed into smeared streaks instead, and they remain that way for the rest of the scene. Mike smashes Bowers over the head with a rock and then pushes him into the well beneath the Niebolt Street house. He falls for several seconds, and we never hear him reach the bottom, making survival practically impossible, yet Bowers somehow survives the fall. Before we get to the final mistakes of the movie, a big thank you for watching. If you've enjoyed this, consider giving the video a like, and subscribe with notifications on so you don't miss the next one. Fight Club. As the Losers Club make their blood oath at the end of the film, the glass Bill uses to cut their hands has a visible bloody point, yet in some shots it's completely clean, despite never being wiped as he goes around the circle. When they join hands, starting with Bill and Beverly, the close-up shows Bill's hand underneath, closest to the camera. When the shot cuts wide, Beverly's hand is suddenly in that position instead. Eddie is still wearing the same arm cast. It was fully submerged in sewer water for around 10 seconds, a month prior to this scene. It appears completely intact here, but the cast would almost certainly have been compromised by that, both structurally and hygienically. And despite their left hands bleeding significantly, the blood never transfers to the right hand of the person they're holding when they let go. Beverly later kisses Bill goodbye, and while the blood does transfer to his face, the mark it leaves changes between cuts.